and welcome to podcast episode 132 of Rope-A-Dope Boxing. The 2 days being a bit of a preview and a bit of a David McDonald going into this weekend's boxing action. There's not a lot to talk about this weekend in terms of fights, but Dave's obviously got a bit of news that he needs to let off the leash. So anybody that listens to our podcast on Monday, Tuesday or Wednesday, if you're watching on YouTube, you realise I've got my wife beater vest on. And Dave hasn't changed much either in 3 days. So we're doing a bit of a bumper episode, if you like. But we're going to be talking Jack Catterall versus Harlem Eubank in a minute. But we will jump straight into our prediction league and the results to see exactly where me and Dave stand. So here we go. So prediction league going into last weekend was 10-10. It's head-to-head right at the moment for me and Dave, which is what we like. We like 50-50 fights. We don't like red corner beats blue corner. But let's see if red corner did beat blue corner at the weekend. So, Mbili versus Selecki. We both went for Christian Mbili by knockout. I said round 10. Dave said round 4. Mbili done it in 1. So that's 3 points apiece there. Deontay Wilder against his opponent in Herndon, Terrell Herndon. We both went for Deontay by KO. I went for round 2. So did Dave. Deontay done it in 7. So that's another 3 points each. Zerdo versus Dorticus. We both went for Zerdo on points, so it's another 3 points there. Schofield versus Tevin Farmer. I went for Schofield on points, so that's a point for me. Dave bravely went for Jesus Christ, I'm not calling him that. Floyd Schofield in round 5, so he got the knockout right, but not the round. So Dave earns 3 points there. Jake Paul versus Chavez. What it was worth? I went for Jake Paul, so I get 1 point for the name. Dave went for Jake Paul on points, which earns him 3 points. And Shakan Pitters versus Bradley Ray. We both went for Shakan on points. By KO, should I say. He didn't win, so we get no points there. So if anybody's keeping up, you will realise that the scores from last weekend were Dave G 11, Dave H 15, making the scores going into this weekend's fights is Dave G 10, David Holland 11. He's pulled it back again. Well done, son.
It's the first time I've led this season. I'm sure
is
of
it?
I'm sure it is. I'm sure you've romped off.
I might
anyway, I was behind for a while. But
yeah,
that's it now. I think you're fucked now, mate.
I might be. There's not a lot to do this weekend, so unless I get these spot on, I might be fucked. You never know. But let's crack straight into it, mate. We're cracking to the 3 fights over in Manchester that's got any sort of substance to them, if you like, before you do a bit of David McDonald. This is the fight of the week. It's only really the fight of the weekend. Jack Catterall versus Harlem Eubank at the MEN Arena. I remember when you, in your bit of your news bulletin, when you announced this fight, mate, you asked, what do I think of it? We both kind of said it was a lose-lose for Jack Catterall. At the time, I didn't realise that Jack Catterall was moving up to 147. He's doing a bit of a Josh Taylor. I didn't realise. I just didn't think at the time. So he's moving into another division. Why? I don't know. We can elaborate on that. Why has he jumped up? He is the A side. If you look at the posters, mate, Jack Catterall, even though he's fighting against a Eubank, it is Catterall versus Eubank, which kind of makes you think, and I've always said it just recently, well, not always, but I have recently said it about Jack, that he's getting paid by Sam Jones and Eddie Hearn's doing the promotion well for him, but he's not getting those world title shots. So this is a little bit risky, jumping up to Harlem's weight, taking on Harlem Eubank. What does it do for him if he loses? I'm not too sure. But Harlem Eubank, mate, we followed his career. 20-0, I think he is now. 9 knockouts, not really a knockout merchant. Saw him in his last fight against Tyrone McKenna. Looked very, very good. I know Tyrone McKenna's been retired 3 or 4 times. Irrelevant of that, he did look good. But the question we've got to ask ourselves about Harlem Eubank, how good is he? Yeah. We don't know yet. This is a big jump from Tyrone McKenna to Jack Catterall. Yes, Catterall come off that loss, didn't he, to Arnold Barbosa Jr. Yes, it was a close fight. There's arguments whether Jack Catterall won. I don't believe he did. I think we both agreed when we reviewed the fight, mate, that Catterall's output was poor. There wasn't enough there.
Yeah.
I'm not giving my prediction straight away. Obviously, we're going to have a little bit of chat about this. I can see this going very, very similar. If Harlem Eubank is that guy, the quiet, humble guy that's gone away and done his work quietly and now is stepping up to the big time, hand speed, foot speed, if he can incorporate that against Jack Catterall and make it uncomfortable for him and make the judges look at what Harlem's doing rather than Jack's got that awkward southpaw style where it's hard to land on him, that he just throws single shots but they're clean, crisp and accurate. If Harlem can kind of, not even old man him, just make the judges realise that he's outworking Jack Catterall, he can win this. Yeah. But again, this is 50-50. This is a real 50-50 fight in terms of Jack moving up. But if we're going to be totally honest, Jack's CV and the way Jack fights and how hard he is to land on and the way he kind of gets into a rhythm, when he's in control, when he starts to fight early, it's going to be a tough ask for our Harlem. So when I just said there, guys, 50-50, I don't mean it literally. I just mean Jack now moving up to Harlem's weight makes it a little bit more closer. But we don't know how good Harlem Eubank is. Jack Catterall might take him to school and think, he wasn't that good after all. Maybe the beating of the Tyrone McKenna is maybe his level. But yeah, mate, after our first conversation, when you've announced this fight, and we both more or less said the same, it's a lose-lose for Jack. Is you still in the same thought process? Now he's moving up to 147. What?
I am. I am. Listen, Jack Catterall. We all know the stories about Jack Catterall. He should have been a unified, world champion, undisputed world champion, and and it didn't happen for him, but that will always hang over his neck. He's been in with the better opponents. This does more for Harlem Eubank than it does for Jack Catterall. I still can't quite work out the need for it, other than it's a Eubank, but it's not the Eubank.
This is my point, mate. Sorry to interrupt. This is my point. When I mentioned Sam Jones and Eddie, they're getting Jack very, very well paid. They're doing their job in terms of him. Jack Catterall's wealth now, being the A side, the opponents that he's fought, being the A side at home, he must be generating multiple wealth. This is what I'm saying. They're doing their job in that sense. But when it comes to the promise of a world title, he's going backwards, brother. He's going backwards.
Yeah, like I say, I still believe that this is a lose-lose, because he comes through this like, well, who's Harlem Eubank? And if he loses, then obviously if he loses, I don't know where he goes. But if he wins, it's just like, oh well, he should win. Harlem Eubank's never been with anyone. His best win's Tyrone McKenna. You know what I mean? So it does way more for Harlem Eubank than it does Jack Catterall. I feel like it's being used as maybe a little bit of an excuse for him stepping up to 147. You know, it's almost being like, well, it's a name, but it's not really a name, because yes, Harlem Eubank has had some good performances, but they're not. He's been fighting on Channel 5 against relatively no one.
The name's a surname, Dave. Let's be totally honest. The name's a surname. The selling point.
Yeah, and the thing is, if Senior's there, it makes this a big event.
Yeah, you're right. You are right. Yes, didn't even think about that, to be honest. Senior's part of his training.
Even Jack Catterall is jumping on that bandwagon, because I saw a face-off, or I saw a press conference or something recently where he was saying Rastafari and all that to Harlem. You know, like it's more about Chris Eubank Senior than anything else. But it is a shame. And like I say, Harlem Eubank is a good boxer. Listen, if Harlem Eubank wins this fight, then we're talking that he's on the up.
Jack Catterall's world class. He's not elite. He's world class. Yes, he lost to Barbosa, but he lost a close fight to Barbosa. I don't think there's any decline or wilting from him. He just got beat. He got the game plan wrong. Didn't do enough output.
He waited too long. He waited too long. Massive jump up.
Can you see what do you think Harlem can do better than Jack? Of the optic test, I just mentioned earlier there, fast hands, fast feet. That's the only thing I can see he does better than Jack. The quickness, the speed of he's a lot quicker. Most fighters are quicker than Jack, but Jack's very accurate, very crisp on what he does, and very methodical on what he does. That's what I'm saying. Can you see Harlem Eubank doing anything better than Jack? Can you see Harlem Eubank beating Jack?
No, I don't think Harlem Eubank does anything better than Jack. Now, Jack Catterall is good at, I think Jack Catterall is good at what he does. Yes, he'll walk you onto shots. Very clever in his boxing, and I think that if Harlem Eubank wants to pour forward and try, I think he's going to walk onto something. Now, I'm not saying that Jack Catterall possesses one punch power, but he is accurate, and if you're not smart yourself, you will walk onto silly shots and point scoring shots, which is what he's very good at, Jack Catterall. The issue he had with Barbosa is that he waited too long. He waited too long, and he was happy to wait to find the shot, but in that he was losing the rounds. He was. But I don't think you can compare Barbosa Jr. to Harlem Eubank, not at this stage of their careers, anyway.
No, I think that's fair.
Based on name value, this is the only reason this fight is happening. Now, it's a massive fight for Harlem Eubank, but really, based on opponents, based on career, based on previous opponents, based on everything, Jack Catterall wins this fight for me. Yeah, he really does. You only got to listen. I know he had a good win against Tyrone McKenna, but you've only got to go back to the fight before with Harlem Eubank, where they were falling on the floor. I agree.
I'm not comparing the two. That's what I'm saying. I'm not comparing. No. This is a massive step up in terms of levels from Tyrone McKenna to Jack Catterall. Yeah. I totally get it. I totally agree.
Yeah, and like I say,
but what if he has been hidden away, Dave? What if let's try and make a case for Harlem. What if he has been hidden away and he is that guy? When is Harlem's time? Is it now?
Yeah. It is now. What is it? He's got to be 30 now, isn't he, Harlem?
Yeah, it's around about the age.
Yeah, this is it. This is it. And if, like I say, and this is a massive win. Should he get it? Massive win. This puts him in a position,
doesn't it?
It does, 100%. It does. So we've already spoke about Harlem Eubank and where he goes next after all of his fights, and we've always said that he needs a name. He needs to step up. We've said it on every show we've ever previewed him on, and now he's got it against Jack Catterall. Now it's a risk for Harlem Eubank because yes, Jack Catterall had his first defeat against Arnold Barboza Jr., but it wasn't a devastating defeat. It was a close fight, and you had it right in your gambit when you said he's not shot. Harlem Eubank's not going to a fight that's in decline. He's just come off a close defeat where the tactics were probably wrong. So so it's a risk. It's a risk that and you know what? I welcome it because we always talk about taking chances, and up to this point, we've always said about Harlem Eubank, he needs a name. And now, listen, it's come around, and Jack Catterall is that guy. So fair play to Harlem Eubank. And listen, I would like nothing more than him to put in a great performance and this be a great fight. And I really hope it is. Yeah. And I hope he has. I hope he shows us something that we've not seen before. I welcome it. I just think that Jack Catterall would have too much experience, too much know-how, and his style is a nightmare. You can't just walk it. You can't just walk him down. You can't just think, I'm going to go in there and have loads of output.
Mate, because you'll get
picked off on the way. Yeah.
It's boring but effective, isn't it? Let's be totally honest.
If you think you're going to go in there and steamroller him and just go, I'm going to go there, I'm going to outwork him and throw lots of shots. No one's done it before, and you will walk onto shots on the way in because Jack Catterall is very good at timing his shots. Now he is boring, and his style can be like that. But he is willing to wait, and he's willing to wait too long, which was his detriment in the last fight. So what he will do is he'll frustrate you as well, because if you think, oh my God, he's just going to sit back, bang, you've caught one. Harlem Eubank has not been in any type of fight like that before, so listen, he might come in and shock it. I just think that Jack Catterall, if they think they're going in there and they're going to take Jack Catterall at this stage of his career because he's on the decline, I think that's a mistake. So I think they need to go in there and give him the respect that he deserves. Come with a game plan, by all means, and and try and work that out. But if someone's willing just to wait back and just detonate when you make a move, it's awkward and it's frustrating. So Harlem Eubank's got a lot to sort of think about when he gets in there. But yeah, it's hard to say whether this is going to be a great fight because Jack Catterall can make it boring and technical. So it might not be a barnstormer, and that's what worries me. It might be one of them ones where Harlem Eubank is probably waiting as well because he's waiting to see what Jack Catterall is going to do, and it could be a bit of a stinker. I hate to say it, but it could be a bit of a cat and mouse, and it might not be the fireworks that people are hoping for.
I just don't want to see Harlem Eubank not turn up on Saturday night and then go back to doing another 20 against bin men and Latvia. I think this is his time. I think it has to be now. Yeah. He said he's about 30 years of age. He's not living off the senior and junior name, but he's kind of living off the Eubank name, if you like. It's given him an elevation, even though that sounds a bit harsh. But he's done all his work. He's done all his work quiet and humble, as we said before. We spoke about it before. Channel 5 got massive receipts, and the Erdogan fight, probably one of the worst fights you would have seen, because they thought it was Chris Eubank Jr. fighting. So he has got that name, but that's kind of irrelevant when it comes into the ring, because that name kind of goes out the window. Mate, I don't know. I think there's something there with Harlem. I don't know, but we've got a couple of other fights to talk about, so let's go in for our predictions. How are we seeing it, mate? Where are we going?
I'm going to go for Jack Catterall on points.
Playing safe.
Why are you thinking something? Well, listen, I'm in the lead now, mate.
I know. I don't know. He's not wilting. Jack Catterall is close fight. Something just tells me he's getting paid, but when it comes to world titles, I mean, why is it 147? Is he just come up for the money? Is he going back down to 140? I don't know what he's doing. I don't know why he's taking this fight. I'm just guessing it's because it's a payday for him. But I don't know. There's something that tells me there could be another upset here, and Jack Catterall's kind of thinking, well, I've got paid, but I'm going further down the rankings now, and I'm not getting that shot I was promised. I'm going to go bold. I'm going to go Harlem Eubank on points. I think it could shock a few people. When you said you don't think he does anything better, that's when me and you very rarely disagree. I think, again, we're going to go by opponents, but from the optic test and what he does maybe on the pads and things like that, what you see, to me, his hands and feet are a lot faster. And I think if he can use them to his advantage and make the judges notice his work rather than Jack Catterall being slow and waiting, as you rightly said, I think that might be enough for him. Whereas Barbosa Jr.'s output was enough for him, But I'm going to go bold. I'm going to go Harlem Eubank points. And I haven't got a dog in the fight, by the way. I've got a lot of love for Jack, and I feel sorry for him that he hasn't got the world title opportunities. But I don't know. I think Harlem Eubank might be better than what we think. I don't know. We'll find out Saturday night. If he gets schooled, we'll soon know. But yeah, I'm going to go Harlem.
Nice.
So yeah, very, very interesting. Looking forward to that one. Also on the undercards, on the undercards, should I say, not also. Joe Cordina. He's back out, ladies and gentlemen. He's on this Matchroom card. I thought he split from Eddie. He's taken on, I think he's a Bolivian. I'm not sure where this guy's from. Mexican. I think he's a Mexican. I think Jared Quiros. Never heard of the dude. Another risky Mexican opponent being brought over by Eddie. 17-1, 13 knockouts. Very risky matchmaking. We've seen what's happened recently with Galawia fight and other Matchroom fighters in the past. I'm just quite surprised that Joe's back in sense of we haven't heard from him. We haven't seen him. Whether the weight was too much for him. Is he moving up? He doesn't. He's still fighting at 135 by the looks of it. Last time we saw him, mate, or 130, whatever it is, we saw him against Anthony Kakachi. Now, I've heard people saying the week, well, the only reason Joe Cordina lost that fight is because of the rabbit punch at the back of the head. No, it wasn't. Yes, it was an illegal punch, but we see that week in, week out. We just spoke about Dortigus versus Zerdo, the amount of low blows. They're illegal punches. They had an effect on Zerdo. He didn't take time out. He got beat up. Let's be perfectly honest. Joe Cordina got beat up by Anto Kakachi. It wasn't expected. We both didn't predict it. The boxing world didn't predict it. The world switchers were supposed to go on and then fight the Shakur Stevenson fight. But he fucked up. He got the game plan wrong. Maybe he wasn't right on the night. I don't know. But he got beat. We haven't seen him for a year, but he's back now. I'm a Cordina fan. I'm looking forward to seeing him back. He's too good not to be active. And he's getting this fight, which I think is quite risky, Dave. This ain't an easy fight to go into because, again, do a bit of homework, have a nosy, what this guy was all about. Another typical Mexican that's easy to hit, but it's quite happy to come forward and throw. And if Joe Cordina did put a dent in him, mate, we could see a Galawia fight versus Rodriguez. We really, really can. This is a dangerous fight for Joe Cordina's first fight back after a year out inactive, Dave. I don't like this fight for Joe. I've got to be totally honest.
Has he moved up in weight, Dave? Do you know, or is this at the same weight he was at before? Because this will concern me. Because obviously, there was talk about his weight going into the.
Have you got BoxRec there then? What are you looking at?
I'm looking at BoxRec, yeah. Kakachi.
So he fought Kakachi at 130, did he? Or 126?
Like
130.
Yeah.
So as far as I know, it's still 130. The event, if you go into a bout, it should tell you what weight it's at, mate. From what I've heard in the week, he hasn't moved up in weight, so he's still fighting at the same weight.
Yeah, it's just light, global.
So lightweight. Then. Yeah, so he's not moving up, is he?
Because there was talk about him struggling at the weight, and it didn't. That was not saying that the.
Oh, hang on, he has moved up then, isn't he? Didn't he fight? Yeah, he fought Anto at 126, didn't he? So he's moved up to 130 now.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Yeah,
is that right? Yeah.
So that would be the. No, he fought Kakachi at 130. Yeah.
Oh, okay then. Yeah. Well, let's go. Yeah, he's fighting a lightweight then, so he's staying at the same weight. He's fighting at 130 then. Yeah, he hasn't moved up at all. He's stuck in at the same weight.
He said that it was for the titles, the super feather.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So 130 is 130 super featherweight, isn't it?
Yeah, 130 super feather. So he's fighting at lightweight.
Right, so he has moved up then.
Yeah, he's moved up, and he needed.
There we go. We got there in the end, ladies and gentlemen. So many weights, so many numbers. So he is moving up in weight. Yeah. Anything like that though, Dave. I still think this is a dangerous fight for Joe.
They pull these Mexican out their asses, man, and he's
got form for it, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's only had one defeat. Doesn't look like he's fought out of Mexico, but that makes no difference to these Mexicans. They're tough. So this could go one of either way. This is a tough one to call, really, because this guy. He's only 24 years old. He's only had one defeat. It was a KO, but he's had 17 wins, 13 by KO himself. So he can punch.
From what I've seen, he's a typical Mexican. That's why I made the reference to Galao Five's opponent. Comes forward, throws lots of shots. He'll take one to land two. He doesn't give a fuck. So Joe Cordina has got to be the Welsh wizard. But after that long layoff against a tough opponent like this ain't a Latvian bin, man. This guy looks like he's a live dog from what I've seen. But
are you going to go bold again? Are you?
I'm not sure. What are you thinking?
I don't think it's going to happen this time. Joe Cordina. I don't want to use the weight as an excuse because Anto talked through him, but he has got all the skills in the world. Like he's a very good fighter, and his wins have been great wins. That knockout for him to win the world title was fantastic. So I'm hoping that not that I've got a dog in the fight, but I'm hoping that
I'd like to see Joe win. I'd like to see Joe win, but I just think it's a gamble, isn't it, with these unknown Mexicans, man?
The form of it, these Mexicans, they have got to be watched. I think this is going to be a decent enough fight. I think Cordina's going to win. I think Cordina's going to win on points. But I think, like, I'm with you. I think this guy, he's going to be in this fight for. I think there's definitely the early rounds, but I don't want to take anything away from Joe Cordina's skills. Like I say, he came up against a dogged Anthony Cacace that night, and listen, he wasn't going to be denied. And like I say, he's gone on to do great things at the moment. So that's it's not a bad defeat. It was a bad defeat on the night because he did get bashed.
No, it's aged well, that defeat, isn't it? To be honest, it's aged well, isn't it? That defeat. So,
but I think he's going to come through this. I think that Quiros would have his moments. I think he's going to prove that he's a proper Mexican, like they all do when they come on these shores. But I think skill-wise, I think Joe Cordina's going to. I don't think he's going to get involved. I think he's probably learned enough from the Anto fight where he was bashed up. You've made
a great point. You've made a very good point there. I didn't even think of this. Not going to get involved. Typical Mexicans come forward. He'll throw. If he lands, you think Joe shits himself. Not literally, but you think, as in flashbacks. I don't want to be part of that. Do you know what I'm saying? That's a great point you made there because he hasn't fought since, and he got. No. Let's be honest, guys. He got beat up.
He did.
He got beat up and he got stopped. No one's ever done that to Joe before.
No.
So if this Mexican guy puts it on him, will he get the flashbacks? Will he panic? I don't know. That's a great point, actually. I didn't think of that.
Well, like I say, but he has got the skills to nullify that. He's got plenty of movement. Hand speed's good. Very, very good boxing IQ. But like I say, like you're right there. If the guy does pour forward and he starts having flashbacks from Anto, it's sink or swim time, isn't it? He goes, he settles himself, goes to his boxing and boxes his way out of it. I don't think he's going to stand there and start trading. I think he may have emotional scars from the last fight with that, especially his first fight back since then. I don't think, you probably want to get this one out of the way and start again. So I don't, if push comes to shove and they want to meet in the middle of the ring, I don't think that Joe Cordina is going to be going to go down that route. I think he's going to box on the back foot and show skills and probably frustrate this guy. So, I think Joe Cordina on points, but I think this guy's going to have his moments. He's going to ask some questions, I think.
Yeah, exactly the same as you, mate. I don't think it's going to be convincing.
I thought you was going to go bold.
No, I'm not. No. I might regret it, but yeah, I don't think it's going to be convincing. I think he's going to do enough. A bit of ring rust off, if you like. I'm not sure he's going to engage. If this guy will throw, he will land. He'll ask him questions. I've got no doubt about that whatsoever. Just because he's Mexican, irrelevant if you've seen him or not. But yeah, just enough from Joe Cordina, get himself back into the mix, if you like. But I don't think it's going to be a fight of the night. Well, fight of the weekend. There's not a lot going on, but yeah, hopefully he gets the job done anyway. Lastly, guys, on this, Skye Nicholson's back. Weird one, this, Dave. Last saw Skye losing Tiara Brown. She did lose the fight. The first girl to ever kind of put it on her. The first girl to make Skye lose rounds. Unfortunately for her. Big fans of Skye. Me and David followed her before we even done this podcast. A journey from Olympic to professional. She's got a very awkward style, a bit like Jack Catterall. She didn't get found out. She just lost in a close fight last time out. She's dropping weight. We just spoke about Joe Cordina moving up, Dave. She's dropping from featherweight to super bantamweight. I'm not sure why. I haven't seen any interviews of Skye, why she's dropping weight. She's in an she's only doing 8 rounds over 2 minutes. Have you seen any sound bites? Have you seen anything of Skye? Why she's doing this? I've got no idea. You normally move up. You don't normally move down.
No.
She looks healthy on the scale. She never seems to struggle. I don't know why is she moving down to Phantom.
I know. In the fight with Brown, she was sort of talking about her weight, but we spoke about it with, I think it was either Liam. It must have been Liam, and she was obviously doing punditry at the Royal Albert Hall, and we were saying about things like that at the time, and did that affect her, her preparation for these fights and stuff like that? And Liam suggested it wasn't, and it's a valid point. But when she was talking about weight, I'm with you. I'm talking like maybe she was going to go up, not go down, But yeah, listen, if she can go down and still, obviously the skills will go down with her, and we're not talking about power punching in these divisions. You don't get many stoppages.
No.
But yeah, it's one I'd like to find out what's sort of gone on. Listen, if she can go down, get down to that weight and make it well, then why not? 2-weight world champion, and then eventually, she's 29 now, but eventually she goes up through the weights. The women are going to go up through the weights anyway. But yeah, it's a bit of a strange one going down. But yeah, I'm intrigued. It's very rare, and if she feels like she can do it, and she can do it safely and healthily, then I've got no issue with it.
I'm guessing she'll want to avenge the loss to Tiara Brown. It was a close fight. It wasn't a one-sided beatdown, anything like that. But yeah, it's intriguing why. Obviously, going into fight night and fight week, it presses. We'll find out why she's moved down. Obviously, we don't know confirmation just yet. But looking at her opponent, Carla Gonzalez, looks like she can punch. But she's been. I think have you got box there? I think she's lost 3. Has she been stopped before? I mean,
she's lost 3 and been stopped twice.
She's been stopped. I mean, yeah. If Skye's going to sit down on the punches, I've got no doubt that Skye can take her out. But Skye's not that girl in terms of. Yes, she's been trying to do it. She's been looking for knockouts. But
that was. Sorry to jump in, mate. That's the sort of reason why she lost to Tiara Brown. For me, she did everything in that Tiara Brown,
didn't she?
Yeah, but she never. It was all different. She did things differently that she's done in all of her other fights. Like she's always up on her toes, in and out, in and out.
A lot of peer pressure on the girl, isn't there? There's been a lot of peer pressure on her to start knocking girls out, and it's kind of you're right, mate.
It backfired in that fight. It did cost her in that fight. Listen, I'd like her to get back to what she's good at, and when she is, she's one of the best in the world. In all divisions when it comes to boxing skills. But yeah, so we'll see.
Unanimous points. Are we thinking the same, mate?
Do you know what? I'm going to go bold. I think she's going to get the stoppage.
Oh, fair play. I hope she does. We've both got a dog in the fight, so I hope she does. Definitely, man.
Yeah, I'm going to go. I'm going to go for round 5 stoppage, and I'll tell you, I just think going down in weight as well. So like say if she carried any type of pop with the division above. But not only that, this woman's been stopped a couple of times before, so I think you could probably get a TKO sort of situation out of this. But yeah, I'm going to go for Skye Nicolson on round 5.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with points. An absolute masterclass by Skye. Either way, I'm still intrigued why she's moved down in weight, but we'll find out when we do our next podcast next Monday. But yeah, loyal fans that we are, we're both going for Skye Nicolson to get the job done at the weekend. And that's literally all it is for previewing, mate. I think Jazza Dickens is fighting out in Russia midweek. Haven't really looked too much into that, but yeah, they're the 3 fights on Manchester. So yeah, this is our Thursday edition. We recorded on the Monday, so I think it's time for a bit of a David McDonald, mate.
Yeah, listen, it's David McDonald and the Dongs. This episode will be quite a short one. I'll tell you, I've gone 2 weeks worth of news, and it's all been Canelo Crawford. Everything on my thing has been their press conferences. He said this.
How are you finding it, by the way, mate? Just so to know, how you find it at the moment? Because I found it a bit staged, and the last one I saw was it Vegas or New York? Terence is looking rattled. Not as if he's scared, but it's like, right, okay, now you're kind of poo-pooing my opponent. You think you're the big I am. Don't disrespect me. You're going to see what's coming. He looks a bit... I like that. I want to see an angry Terence. How are you finding them, mate?
Yeah, I do. But they had a little bit of a scuffle. I'd see the news. it's kicked off and all that sort of stuff. And I see the scuffle on there, and I thought they've spoken about this before. No, because he pushed him and he just sort of walked back, and it was like
a New York one, wasn't it?
Yeah,
the one last week. The one I think it was Vegas with them. The latest one. They look a bit more like they know they're going into a fight rather than it's staged. Because they were having Turkey, they were in dividend together with Turkey and things like that. They were smirking at each other in Riyadh. But now as it's going on, I think they know they're both in a fight. That's what I mean. So yeah, if you still think it's.
No, I don't.
Anyway, so I totally
no, I'm not. I'm only going on little sound bites and things that I've seen, and it doesn't look like they dislike each other to me. Turkey's putting a lot of money into this, so he probably wants to create. He doesn't, not that he needs to, but he wants to probably create a little bit, to try and sell it.
Where are you at the moment until fight day? Where are you? You're allowed to change your mind. Are you Team Crawford? Are you Team Canelo?
I don't really want to go back on what I said recently. I always thought that the size would be too much, but I do see decline in Canelo. So when we come to it, I'm still thinking about it, to be honest with you. I really, really am. But I was always against Terence Crawford going up in his weights. But he looks bigger than Canelo, to be fair to him.
It does. It does, doesn't he?
So yeah.
It's whether he's comfortable at 168, isn't it? But sorry to interrupt, mate. Obviously, you've got a bit of. You did mention Canelo Crawford, and I just wanted to mention talk about it.
No, so the Canelo Crawford is the reason there's not a lot going on. So I've only got 4 pieces of news, so it'd be a short episode. So if we was doing this on a Thursday, it would be lovely.
If you can get back in time there.
yeah. Right, so we touched on this because Brian Norman Jr. Fought recently on a devastating knockout, and we were talking about him being the man of the division. And we sort of touched on it, but we'll have a little talk on it now. As obviously Jared Boots Ennis has announced his plans to move up to super welterweight to become a 2-division world champion. So he said it's time. 154 pounds. You said this is where the smoke at, right? So this is my American accent. Let's have it then. 2-weight division champ, 4-time champ loading, and he's put a picture up at the gun show. So just touching on that. What's your thoughts on that? Like, I know that again we spoke about weight and we spoke about Jared Boots Ennis maybe struggling at the weight and all that sort of stuff. But do you feel that he is? Obviously, his last performance was a really good performance, and we were sort of talking about it being one of his best performances, and now he's moved up. Now, I'm not for 1 minute saying he doesn't want to fight Brian Norman Jr., but do you not think he would have wanted to take that fight before he goes up, or do you think it's What's your thoughts on this? Now, I'm not for 1 minute saying he's ducking, but like I say, in the division he was in, it would have been a super fight.
It's a weird one, isn't it, with Boots, because he was offered to cut the million to fight Virgil Ortiz Jr. Yeah. And he turned it down, said he was stopping at welterweight because he wanted to unify the division. Yeah. Virgil Ortiz went in with Madrimov and beat Madrimov, and now he's happy to move up. So he's either moving up for I don't know. Is it money? Was he avoiding Virgil Ortiz Jr.? Is he avoiding Brian Norman? I don't know. I think Boots is the best in the division now. Crawford's fucked off from it. So it's a weird one to answer. Maybe he was lying to himself, mate. Maybe it was, because we've seen him on the scale. He doesn't look healthy on the scales. He does seem to struggle to make the weight. Maybe it's being honest with himself. I have to move up now. I've unified the division. I'm not going to be undisputed in the division, obviously. Belts have been given up now. So, mate, I've said it in the past. I know Brian Norman Jr. has come to people's attention now, especially after that knockout in Japan. Boots could school him. He really, really could, because I don't think he's a great boxer. I really don't. And that's disrespectful, maybe, because he does and I don't. But he's very, very hittable. He did improve in this last fight, but he carries that fucking equalizer, man. He's the biggest puncher in that division. He really is. And that's why he's getting so far as he has. Look, listen, people want to come in here and speak to me on Twitter and things like that, saying that he can box. That's fair. But I don't think he's as good as boxer as Staniosis. 2 completely different styles. But I would say Brian Norman Jr. would beat Staniosis because he's got that equalizer. He's got one punch power. So but you see your original question, mate, without me waffling too much. Do I think he's ducked him? No. I just think he's being honest with himself now and realises that he can't make 147 anymore.
Oh, no, fair enough, mate.
What do you think then? What's your opinion?
I'm a little bit on the fence with it all. Like I say, listen, if it's genuine, listen, I want them all to be fit, healthy, and safe. I don't want them to be struggling at the weight. I'm not for that. So if it is genuinely that, then fair enough. Listen, move up the weights. Listen, I don't want you struggling. I don't want you in saunas. I don't want all that sort of stuff. We had enough of that with Chris Eubank and all that sort of stuff. So listen, if you are struggling, that's genuine. Fine, I've got no issues with it. But I just feel like, he's just come off a career best of win. Yeah. And now, I just don't know why he doesn't capitalize on that and unify and get all the belts and go for it. Then move up. He could. I mean,
he said he wanted to do, didn't he? As well, he said he wanted to do that.
He's only 27, 28, isn't he? He's not old. Now it will be forgotten about if he goes up the division and wipes it out. Then you think, okay, listen, he says he's healthier, he feels better, fair enough. But if he goes up there, right, and it doesn't quite work out, you think, listen, you'll never be able to take away the fact that he's a world champion. But I just feel that the opportunities are still there at welter, So I'm a little bit 50-50 on how I feel about it. I would like him to unify the division before he moved up. That's basically my short answer.
It's not walks, talks, and quacks, is it?
No, I'm not saying it's that. I'm not saying it's that. No, I can't label that. But like I say, there's a massive fight there to be made with Norman Jr. now. Like you see,
I agree.
That would be a great fight. And then listen, what will be? Well, even if he went and won that, then moved up. I just feel that the timing of it doesn't seem right to me.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, I'm not him. I don't know how he feels. But yeah, it's one of them. But it's happening now, so that's that. Right. I don't know what you think about this. This came out and listen, it's one of them things. But Alexander Usyk's longtime promoter Alex Krasiuk has announced that the pair have parted ways following a successful reign together. He said, "It's a dream come true. Thank you for all we've gone through and the honour of being your lifetime promoter of the Double Undisputed." What do you make of that?
Yeah, the timing's weird, isn't it?
It doesn't seem. Yeah, I'd say it seems a bit strange, that one. Like I say, they were pretty close. Like and he's been there for all the fights that he's ever been in. He's always been in his corner. He's always been his mouthpiece. He's always been. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know what's happened. Like whether it just seems strange. Because I say, let's get it right. Usyk has only got maybe one or couple more fights left. I don't understand why it just wouldn't be there to the end. So yeah, I just wanted to just like I say, I know you won't know, but it seems like whenever you've seen Usyk, you've seen him. He seems to be a part of the whole journey for me, and it'll be strange him not being there.
Oh, at the presser the next year.
Yeah, it just seems strange. I didn't see that one coming.
But it seems, from what I've seen, it seems quite amicable. What's the word I'm looking for? Amicable.
Yeah,
they've both gone in separate ways. They've known each other for years. I've heard, I've heard all opinions since last week about what it could be and what it couldn't be. I heard people saying, "Oh, that's it now. Now he hasn't got Krasiev in his corner. He's going to lose to Dubois." Silly things like that. I mean, it's got absolutely nothing to do with his training schedule. Nothing to do. He's a promoter. He's not a trainer. He's not Papachenko, for fuck's sake. I mean, he doesn't even use him anymore. So, and yet there's no signs of decline in usage. So we can forget about that part of it. And I've a few things I've heard, because we think about things in our head. I think it could be his last fight, Dave. And what I mean by that is, I didn't realise his last, apparently, inverted commas, his last purse was 75 million. And the promoter takes, obviously the promoter, manager, his team, rights, etc. They take X amount of Usyk's purse. So Krasiev took 12 million out of his 75 million purse. Is it a case that he doesn't need him anymore? He's got maybe 1-2 fights left. He's looking to build a pension pot along with his legacy. Does he want to keep all that money for himself? Remember, he's got his own promotional company. He's got Usyk 17 Promotions. Does he need to be promoted anymore? He's still got his manager in Igor Klimas. So will he fuck him off as well? I know he needs a mouthpiece to an extent, but that's the only thing I can put. There's no been bad mouthing. I know we can't speak Ukrainian. I understand Ukrainian, but it's all translated. They seem to have gone their separate ways. Best of mates still. No hard feelings. I'm just guessing it's comes down to business, mate, and fiscal strategies. I can't see another way why they have split, apart from Usyk just trying to make as much money as possible before he does actually call it a day. I reckon he's got 1 or 2 left. That's it. If he wins, well, I expect him to win against Dubois. Where else does he go? Does he get a huge amount of money fighting in Ukraine if he's allowed against an MMA star? I don't know, an Ngannou or something like that, because it will get eyeballs. I'm not too sure, mate, but the only thing I can think of is a business sense, I don't understand anything else. Unless there's something going on behind the scenes that literally nobody knows, when it could be quite personal and things like that, but it doesn't look it. But am I worried, being a massive Usyk fan, going into the Dubois fight? No, I'm not.
No, I don't think it affects his performance or any type, or has anything to do with his boxing or anything like that. I just he's just always been there. He's always been part of it. He's always been part of fight weeks. He's very vocal when you hear more, but he just as much from him as you do Usyk. So it's just a bit of a strange one. I just didn't see coming, so I thought I'd mention that.
It's the timing, isn't it? It's the timing rather than after the last fight or after this fight. Yeah, it's the timing. It's kind of thrown everybody, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing. Right. So moving swiftly on, Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Ben 2 will take place on September 20th in London. The Riyadh season card will be promoted by Seller, Matchroom, and Boxer. Who's Seller?
You going again?
Well, I wasn't going originally in the first one. I was late to the party, so.
Do you want to see it again? In all honesty, I mean, no. I don't think it could top the first one. It's
never going to top the first one, because the first one had everything, mate. It had Senior getting out the car.
Can't do that again. Yeah.
No, even the Simply the Best and Nigel Ben's song. It won't have the same effect. It won't have the same effect when it comes on now. Like everything was for the first time. It's never going to be topped. And even the outcome of the fight, it's just like I say, we talk about size with Canelo Crawford. Now, listen, we're not comparing them two to these two. When it comes to skill,
take that back.
No, I don't mean. I'm on about size, and I still think that's always going to be the factor. So it's So it's happening on the 20th of September. I think they're seeing the reaction as to whether they can put that at Wembley, because they've not announced it being at Tottenham Stadium yet. They're just saying London.
Yeah.
So I think they're dangling the carrot to see the reaction, to see whether that can sell Wembley.
Isn't there a clash between the football fixtures, though, Dave, or something? I heard. Is that
well, maybe, but it might well be. But I think it might. I think they might try and do it at Wembley. But again, like I say, there's nothing in that fight that can top the first fight. I don't know if I will go to it, to be totally honest with you. Because again, I wasn't originally going to the first one, but I'm glad I did, because it had everything. It was the dramas before it, the falling out of with Chris Eubank Senior. It had it all. The whole story. That's all now not there. So now it's just a fight. Will Eubank be there? Will he? Won't? Should he be in his son's corner? It just had it all. So it's happening anyway, which I knew it would. But
if it's as good as the first one, it'd be worth the wait, wouldn't it? But the panache has gone out of it now.
Yeah, the fight was great. It was a great fight. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, it was a great fight, but it just the fight. It was everything that went on around it. You probably get a great fight again, because Cotton Ben will come out and swing in, and it'll make for a good fight. But it's everything around it.
Yeah, forget the build up now. Forget the build up. Just straight to the fight.
That's what I mean.
Derek, you know what Chris Eubank Jr. is like, mate. He can sell sound to the Arabs, so
he can.
He'd probably make it worth watching, wouldn't he? The fight week, etc.
That's it, mate. My last piece of news for the night, and this is a decent bit. I quite like this. And we just spoke about this fella a while ago. Brian Norman Jr. and Devin Haney will meet for the WBO welterweight title in November in Riyadh. Haney will attempt to win a third division title in his first fight as a fully fledged 147-pounder. Norman delivered one of 2025's best KOs earlier this month against Sasaki in Tokyo. I like this. I would have preferred boots.
Do you?
Yeah. I would have preferred boots. I would have preferred boots, Norman Jr. But listen, it's a name.
Do you know why I don't like it, Dave? I'm not sold it just yet, because what we saw from Devin Haney against Jose Ramirez last time was he would look petrified.
Yeah, he
looked absolutely petrified. But Jose Ramirez was decent. He ain't a puncher like Brian Norman Jr. If he's still having flashbacks, we talked about flashbacks earlier, and one of the other, Joe Cordina. If he's still having flashbacks about Ryan Garcia, Brian Norman Jr. is going to put it on him. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Do you think that Devin Haney's going to run and make this a shit fight?
Going off what I saw last time against Ramirez, mate, I possibly do. I think he'll beat. I think he'll pot shot. I think he'll win by pot shotting. I don't know. I can't get excited for it like you have. Yeah, I don't know, man.
Do you think Haney beats him? I think Norman Jr. will stop him.
Pot shots him. Yeah, pot shots him. I don't think he'll get close. I think he'll run.
I think Norman Jr. will get to him and stop him.
It'd be nice to see it. But I've got nothing against the kid. I like Brian Norman Jr. I think Dave Haney will pot shot him. I think he's more skillful than Brian Norman Jr. I just can't see him engaging, man.
Yeah.
I think he'd be petrified. We're getting stopped again and hurt, because he was hurt. He was trying. He was on. He was juiced going into the fight. We all know what happened, but he was still beat up and hurt.
Yeah.
And he looked petrified against Ramirez. Ramirez ain't really a massive puncher. He's got knockouts on his CV, but he ain't Brian Norman Jr. One hitter quitters. I can't get off that, Dave.
No, to be fair, you make a point. Really, you do make a point based on. I didn't really think of his last performance, Devin Haney.
Boots is more appealing, I must admit.
I would have preferred the boots fight, 100%. But I might have taken it on name value, I suppose. At least we talk about fights, but happening. At least these two aren't actually names that are meeting. You know what I mean? Maybe it's based on that, but you're totally right, and I agree. Based on the last performances, it could the way that Devin Haney approached it, it could be a fucking stinker.
Is it signed, sealed, and delivered? Then is it? I haven't seen any.
That's what it said. Yeah, that's what it says.
Yeah, nice.
It says. Yeah, it's been announced. Turkey Al Sheikh announced it for the. Yeah, we'll meet. It didn't say the exact date, but November in Riyadh.
So Brian Norman gets paid. So that's to be his biggest payday. It'd be his biggest name on his CV. He'd be defending his title. Fair play to him. I just can't see Devin engaging, mate. I think so. I think Ryan Garcia is kind of taking his soul. Let's hope he hasn't. Let's hope we see the old version of Devin Haney. Well, he can box and engage and step inside sometimes. I don't know. I can't see it. Not against this guy. This guy's got a bit of a killer instinct about him, So
yes. But and that's it, mate, for David McDonald and the Dongs.
Oh, it will be a short episode. It's been a bloody long one for us tonight. Obviously, we're recording this on a Monday for people listening to us on a Thursday.
Yeah, we're 2 hours and 20 minutes in.
Yeah, well, it's nearly over. It's nearly over, guys. Let's finish on the winners' weekly wager from last weekend.
It's going to be an hard one this week.
Yeah, well, you obviously people that listened on Monday, and obviously people that listened at the beginning of the show know that Dave did win the prediction league, so he will be picking the banker of the week. Let's quickly just go through what it's all about. So there's £80. There was £80 going into the charity pot of your choice last weekend. Dave went for Christian Billy to get the job done in 4 rounds. He did it in 1 round. So he earned us 3 points. Those 3 points are doubled by Dave, turned it into pounds, which makes it £6 going into the pot. So this weekend, the charity of your choice, boxing charity, stands at £86. So as Dave won the weekend, he gets to pick this week's winner's weekly wager. Where are you looking, brother?
Well, it's like I say, we've got Jack Catterall, Eubank. I think Jack Catterall wins well. We've got Joe Cordina against a Mexican. These Mexicans have broke our hearts many a time. So I think the winner's weekly wager has to be Skye Nicolson.
You went stoppage, didn't you?
I did.
Do you remember what round? It'll be on tape anyway.
5, I think I said. I can't remember.
Yeah, 5, we'll confirm it anyway.
Yeah, I think 5. But yeah, so Skye Nicholson's got to be, because I say Joe Cordina could end up being in a tough fight. And say what you want about Jack Catterall. Yes, I think he'll win, but you know, this could be Eubank's title shot. Basically, it could. You know, he could step up and just show us something we've never seen. And
well, it kind of is, isn't it? You're right. We didn't say it. It is his world title shot, really. When you think about it, it's a massive step up from Tyrone McKenna.
Yeah.
So if he wins this, it elevates him to God knows where. And when he's carrying that Eubank surname, mate, that travels across the globe, I mean, it's going to open all sorts of doors for him. But yeah, definitely. So Skye Nicholson is your choice for the winner's weekly wager, mate. Yeah.
Yes, mate. Yeah.
Lovely job, Lee. And that's about it. We've done all this on a Monday. As again, I keep repeating myself, you're listening to this on a Thursday. So obviously I asked Dave what his plans are going into this weekend. So
I've got the horse racing with Lee Harper on the Friday, mate.
Yes, you did say. That's right.
So
Saturday, recovery Saturday or hair of the dog?
I'll probably be a bag of shite on Saturday. I might squeeze a little visit to see the parents. Dad's been a little bit touch and go the last week or so. He's got an infection now, so I have to go and try and get up there every other weekend at least. So I might go and see him on Sunday. But yeah, not much, mate. And then obviously the following weekend I won't be going to see him, so I probably will go and see the parents because I'm seeing you and Lee Harper for his wedding on the Saturday, so I won't be doing much next Sunday. So yeah, that's me, mate. Be boozed up Friday. I might have a few Saturday, we'll see, but yeah, probably go and see my parents on Sunday, mate. What are you up to?
There's no might about it, is there? There's no might about it.
Oh no, where we're getting picked up from the AGV club. Ryan Greenman put in the group that the bloke there's fucking opening the pub at 9 a.m. for us, and we go in the coach at 11 o'clock. So it's going to be it's going to be mental. And
if the weather's like, if you look at the weather forecast, you know what it's going to be. We're touching 30s again.
Yeah, it's going to be 20 odd, late 20s. Yeah, so that's going to be great on a coach. Bursting for a piss. So there's loads of beers on the coach and everything. So they're selling it.
And as long as you don't kind of cut your knob on the Carling can, or whatever.
I can fit mine in there without touching the sides. It's that small, so I ain't got no dangers.
Don't tell people that. Especially not the regular listeners like Jazz and Sylvia. They don't want to know.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
They're in Rome at the moment. They're in Rome together.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Life, so yeah, bless them. Sylvia's going to come onto the pod very, very soon. Sunday, she said, is the best time for her. So we'll have her on in between one of the weeks talking about her Central Area title win as well. So
really good win.
Yeah, definitely. Bless them. So yeah, I'm going to try and have a quiet one this weekend, mate. And I mean that in terms of I need to save a couple of quid. For the wedding. You may say that sounds a bit drastic. It's only one day. I know what London prices are like.
Oh.
5 times what I pay up here. So
yeah,
I've got to save a few spondoolies. So yes, well, I love you leaving now, guys. So yeah, we've done a long show. This was a short one for you on a Thursday, but we will see you Monday. I'm going to end it here. End of episode 132. Like, share, and subscribe as usual. 5-star review as nothing else to do. Please subscribe. And enjoy the boxing. Stay safe. I've done it the wrong way around. Who cares? And we'll see you next week. Dave, enjoy the racing, mate. Have a good week, and I'll speak to you via WhatsApp or whatever other podcast platform. I'm just talking shit now.
You're tired, man. You're tired.
I don't speak to you via podcast platform. I'll speak to you on WhatsApp, brother.
Take care, brother. And you, mate.
Take care, mate.
Shut up.